In August of 2002, Sunday Gen X began publishing a manga by Rei Hiroe, a story about criminals, ethical and moral gray zones, and a ragtag group of mercs in a country where laws mean so little that they might as well not exist. And in 2006, Madhouse would turn this story into an anime, and a damn good one. In the Gulf of Thailand, bordering Cambodia, is the fictional city of Roanapur, an international criminal hotspot. A place where no one is safe, nothing is sacred, and even the nuns at the local church are packing 38s, but that's because they're feds. It's a city notorious for being the center of illegal activity in Southeast Asia, and many syndicates make havens there. The series' protagonist, Rokuro Okajima, finds this place his new home and his life turned upside down. He was sent on what he was told was a business trip, when the vessel his company sent him on was captured by pirates, a group calling themselves Lagoon Company. They'd hoped to use the salaryman as a bargaining chip, but his former employer intended on abandoning him from the very beginning. So Rokuro decides he's done with the salaryman life. He's going to join the mercs instead and become part of Lagoon Company. Now he must adapt to his new life straddling the line of criminality, all while putting his businessman skills to work as the deal maker for both above and below board enterprises. Punctuated by Lagoon Company's business partnership with the Russian crime syndicate Hotel Moscow. Firefights, fistfights, naval battles, and his psycho, trigger-happy partner in the field, Revy. His life is as chaotic as it is entertaining, and once it starts running, there's no slowing down. Black Lagoon is what would happen if an American action movie was an anime. Like Die Hard, The Expendables, and John Wick. You'll have ended up watching every episode and still wishing for more. Which is where the manga comes in, cause it's still publishing. So the story. You'll get a loose plot revolving around one or more syndicates with what they're trying to do with the time, usually involving Lagoon Company. And that's because the group's captain, Dutch, usually smells a payday. Never doubt the persuasive power of a quick buck. All bits of character development are interlaced between shootouts and failed covert ops. Helps the series to feel real. And the fact that there are no heroes here, and the protagonists often end up a day late and a dollar short, adds to the feeling that no one really wins these conflicts, but they're fun nonetheless. Opening the story with a monologue by Rokuro Okajima, dubbed by Brad Swiley, about his life as a white-collar corporate slave. Modern Japanese business culture on full display. He doesn't work at a sweatshop, called a black company in Japanese culture, but it's still a dull and spirit-breaking existence, filled with office politics and unreasonable expectations from a company that could care less about him. Relatable. Then out in the ocean of the South Asian Sea, Rokuro is getting punched in the face by a pair of pirates that have him at gunpoint. The black guy's name is Dutch, and he seems to be in charge. Dubbed by Dean Redmond. As it seems like the pirates are on their way out, Dutch gives a warning to the hostages. Rokuro thinks he's in the clear when a woman points a gun in his face and tells him that his time as a hostage isn't over yet. He's brought along with Lagoon Company to report back to their client. They were hired to steal something very specific from that specific ship by a woman named Bella Laika, dubbed by Patricia Drake. The most dangerous woman in the series. Holy shit, Bella Laika's scary. A conference with the bigwigs of the company the Lagoon just robbed. We're told Bella Laika is the leader of the Russian mafia in Southeast Asia, with further introductions to the rest of Lagoon Company. A fiery but mostly peaceful female MC, Revy, dubbed by Merrick Hendricks, and the resident Florida man nerd, Benny, dubbed by Brian Dermond. Dutch and Benny use a woman's worst enemy, basic logic, on Revy, to point out that trying to ransom Rokuro is stupid because she doesn't know how much he's worth, nor how much his company will pay to get him back. Now the thing about Revy, she is a psychopath. Her response to basic logic is to mag dump into the hull of the ship around Rokuro. And at this point, I want to talk about one of the most iconic pairs of guns to ever show up in anime. Right alongside Alucard's 454 Kasol and the Jackal, which aren't real guns, but the 454 Kasol is a real caliber. Revy, on the other hand, does sport real guns. She calls them her cutlass, after the sword, because she's a pirate. They're a pair of modified Beretta 92Fs, with a 1-inch extended barrel and ivory grips sporting a calico jack, with the engraving on the side 9mm sword cutlass. Anyway, Dutch grabs her and gets her to stop blasting holes in the ship, and he restates that the goods to be delivered are top priority. And seeing as they've effectively uprooted this guy, he offers Rokuro a spot on Lagoon Company as part of his crew. And they've all been calling him Rock, so that's his new name. And then we get our first look at Roanapur, the fictional crime capital of Thailand. Supposedly right about there. Some backstory to fill out Benny at the beginning of the series. Florida man pissed off the Mafia and the FBI, and was rescued by Revy before ending up in Thailand. Only to be interrupted as Revy goads Rock into a drinking contest on a totally not name brand rum. Meanwhile, Dutch is on the phone with Balalaika, and we get to a delightfully brutal scene of the Russian Mafia learning that Rock's company hired some mercenaries to get back the stolen disc. Everyone in Roanapur knows not to piss off Balalaika. You will lose. Back at the bar, the drinking match is interrupted by a hail of gunfire and grenades. Cue the firefight. Revy does what she does best while everyone tries to slip out the back. They make it to the ship and try to escape. Rock is having a procedurally generated mental breakdown, while the mercs that the company hired give chase. Finally, Rock learns what's on this disc they want so bad and why they're trying to kill him off just to keep it secret. At some point, the mercs back off. Rock is at his breaking point, and Dutch and Benny are trying to figure out why they backed off. The mercs are playing with Lagoon Company. As tension builds, Rock finally snaps and suggests doing exactly what the cocky merc wants them to do. His suggestion excites Dutch, and they go with his plan of attack, a game of chicken. This is some action movie shit. Dutch vaults off of a broken tanker and fires torpedoes at a helicopter. The disc is delivered as agreed upon, and Rock has a chance to go home, but he denies it. And he says, Rokuro is already dead. My name is Rock. Also, it seems Balalaika really likes him, which is not as good as it sounds, cause holy fuck, Balalaika is scary. He is formally invited to be part of Lagoon Company and start his new life as the faceman of a group of pirates. From there, the madness and criminal activity continues. A church of nuns who deals with weapons and smuggling. They're CIA. The Lovelace family plot with the Coleman Mafia and a psychopath equal to Revy. Literally. Balalaika and Hotel Moscow. Military-level criminals. A counterfeiting plot that somehow ends up with a puppy dog romance between Benny and the main target of the plot, Jeanette Bai. Some backstory about Benny being a hacker and a Florida man, some about Dutch being a US-Vietnam War veteran, Revy being a Chinese-American street rat from Manhattan. Also, while it doesn't play out directly in the anime, it does play out in the manga that there is a kind of messed up romance that goes on between Revy and Rock. But in a way, this is just the kind of charm the characters carry. It's their damage. The show really is just a simple, fun action movie, with pieces of crime thriller laced in between. There are no heroes here. Even the good characters are simply evil with a code of conduct, but that makes them enjoyable, except for Revy. She's just a wild one who's loosely held together by her loyalty to Lagoon Company. Though the fact that there are no heroes could be a sticking point for someone who likes a hero. And the script isn't child-friendly at all. Another downside is that there are only 2 seasons at 12 episodes each. Black Lagoon really could get another season or 2, but I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. But it can happen. It happened with Irregular at Magic High. That got a new season after 6 years. Full Metal Panic came out in 2002, Season 2 came out in 2005, and Season 3 finally came out in 2018. So down the line, we could end up getting more Black Lagoon. Also, another sticking point is the sheer weight of the story. It can get really messed up, and honestly at times be more like a horror story than a crime thriller action movie, especially with characters like Hansel and Gretel. That's some deep wet horror gore right there. But that's Black Lagoon for you. I am the NBT, and this has been the Noble Weeaboo. And I can't recommend more watching this series.